Hello and welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me here today. This is your first time here. Welcome. I'm Dorothy Morgan, an astrologer for a long time. This forecast, by the way, will be on my website, nhastrologer.com, written out. I like to write these things out ahead of time. What I like to do here, I'm going to do about 10 days worth of aspects, jumping through the important ones so you understand how to use the energies that's present. And let's get started. So I'm going to pull up my notes, make sure I cover everything for us. So let's get started with the day that I'm posting this, and that's February 19th. And on February 19th, Venus in Aquarius squares Mars in Taurus. What does that mean? Here we go. Venus in Aquarius can be rather cool. It's fixed air, so we're thinking things through a lot. We have a ton of Aquarius planets right now, as you may know, especially if you love astrology. Venus in Aquarius is cool. It's independent, a little bit feisty, a little bit of a rebel, not the overly cuddly energy that we tend to feel from Venus. Mars in Taurus. Mars is motivated and active and wants to take action through the sign of Taurus. It makes him more reliable, slows him down, a little more steady. But if you're feeling too much pressure from something in your life or around you, then we're going to feel challenged and push back. We will push back against what's going on. Now, with Venus and Mars in a 90-degree angle with each other, that's called a square. That creates tension and stress as well. So that means that if you're feeling this, not everybody's going to feel all of these aspects, but if you are feeling some tension and some stress, especially in regards to a relationship, that's what Venus is about. And Mars in Taurus, Venus rules Taurus. So there's this reception between the two of them that is dynamic. So if it is the situation for you that you are in a relationship that needs something to come to the surface, that needs to be addressed, there is this challenge that's present right now. So you're able to have a conversation. And I'm telling you to do that. Don't let it happen to you. Be the one who instigates that conversation and to get something on the table so you're able to actively work on what's important for you. All right. So that's the way that we can use this aspect. However, simultaneously, on Saturday, February 20th, Mercury is stationary to go direct. Mercury is about communication, right? And information. Now, I don't mind Mercury retrograde. Do things go haywire at times? Sure, they always do. Technology gets kind of funky, trying to do things, you have to do it 3 or 4 times. All of that happens when Mercury is retrograde, but it happens when it's not retrograde. But so that's just my cheerleader for Mercury. He's my ruling planet, being that I'm a Gemini. The thing is, Mercury is stationary, and on those days that it's stationary, that is when we can feel no movement whatsoever. Or we finally get to a tipping point where all of a sudden the floodgates are open and we can feel movement. It will be different for everybody. It always is. We all have our own, our own lane that we're in. So some of these transits will act differently depending on who you are. So Mercury stationary on February 20th. Now, so that to me, that's like a day or two on either side. There's just no movement. It's like trying to drive with your brake on. It's just, you can do it if you want, but it's just going to create a lot of havoc. So, and wreak a lot of havoc. So if you are feeling that stress, as well as the tension we can feel with Mars and Venus in a square, then I'm just saying, slow down, take your time, or do nothing. Don't do anything. Stop if you're feeling that there is just too much pressure on you, and take that day and just to be incredibly present, because that's what it's telling us and that's what it's showing to us. It is an opportunity for us to just be in the moment. Again, this might not impact you, but it will impact many people, and we'll see it in the news and we'll see it around us in the world. That's something else about my forecast. I tend to not do too much with the global stuff because I'm a Gemini, so I like to have information. Well, how can I use that? What does that mean for me? All right. So that's the view I'm coming from when I do these forecasts. So now, as well, here's another simultaneous thing. The moon in Gemini on the day that Mercury is stationary, at the same time even, the moon is with the lunar north node, and that is where, very close to the area that we have the eclipse. We want to, in June, right? June 10th, we have an eclipse at 19 Gemini. So when the moon gets to that degree, right now it's ticking off that north node in the sky. And look where 16 to 19 Gemini is for you. And that means we have an opportunity to take a new step on a new path. That's Gemini, of course, and Mercury is stationary. Mercury rules Gemini. The energy of all of this is about, if we can slow down and not have all the pressure of what society says, go, 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 go. 2020 should have taught us this. These aspects on the day that Mercury is stationary, February 20th, with the moon where it is, Mars and Venus square, we have an opportunity to really have our eyes open and receive some really good information. It will be personal, again, to each of us. So we have to decide what that is for you and me. Okay, that's that piece. Let me go look at my notes. What else do I want to talk about? All right, Mars, Pluto, making a trine aspect. Looking at my ephemeris here. They do that on the 24th. Now, with them doing that, that means what? It means we could feel very motivated. They're both in Earth. Mars and Pluto are the rulers and co-rulers of Scorpio. So this is an opportunity for you. This is a whole separate subject, honestly, than what I've already talked about. But there's this opportunity for us to really be incredibly motivated for what those long-term projects are, or what we're building, and what we need to, we can see the transformation of it at this point in time, but it gives us that motivation to take whatever it is that is maybe most likely career oriented, or something that makes you feel stable, whatever those stability things are for you. We're able to see what the next step is. We can see how things are changing and transforming. It's a really simple aspect, but between the two of these, we definitely have something that already exists, but is going through a change, but it's a good change. This is really earthy and very grounded, and it helps us to really feel secure. Again, and that happens on the 24th of February, but these aspects are applying through this whole week. So once we get to the exact dates that I give you, that's when they're now a separate and exact aspect, and then they start to separate. So moving on, February 25th, Venus enters the sign of Pisces. It's in her exaltation. A much different feel than Venus in Aquarius, which can be quite detached. Venus in Pisces is very sensitive. It's very romantic. We feel like that psychic or that soulmate, that spiritual love, all of those things are about to emerge. But we have to be careful of that too, because that means there's just this, we're walking around with rose-colored glasses on, if you will, and we're not always seeing everything for what it really is. But I like it anyways, because the sun is there. The sun is in Pisces. Venus is now there. Neptune is there. And that's helping us just to smooth over the rough edges a little bit. We've had quite a bit lately. And all that Aquarius energy can feel kind of harsh for some people. So this helps us to smooth over the rough edges. I find it may be foggy and we may be sticking our head in the sand for a little while, but who doesn't need a little respite for what's going on in the world? And that's, to me, how one of the ways that we can use this Venus in Pisces over the next few weeks. And if you want more details, let me tell you, I do have a Patreon group, and you are welcome to join us there. I do a live broadcast. I do about 6 every month, and depending on the level that you want to join at, you're welcome to come in. And we do all of everything is done live. And then I record it if you can't make it. So it's put in the bin and you guys get to watch it later at your convenience. So let's move on to the full moon in Virgo. I've got a lot to talk about with that because it's quite an amazing full moon. I'm going to talk about lunar phase family. So let's get started on that. All right, I'm going to grab my notes. Here we are. So the upcoming full moon in Virgo is on February 27. It is at 3:17 a.m. in Eastern Standard Time. If you're on the west coast of the United States, it's just after midnight, 017. So let's talk about this. This full moon in Virgo has a lot to say. Now, it's in that earth sign. And when we have the moon in an earth sign, this is very grounding. The chart looks very grounding, which is good. We need that. We have some water, a lot of water in the chart. Excuse me. We have a lot of air in the chart. I'm going to clear my throat. I'll be right back. Oh, much better. Thanks for waiting. I know, 2 seconds. So the earthiness of this full moon in Virgo is very good for us. We need this earth, this grounded, because of the water I just explained and the air. The water is emotional and the air we think, but we need to bring things down. And whenever the moon is in Virgo, we're seeking perfection, but we're also doing that by sorting through all the details that we are engaged in the moment. The full moon is, she's as bright as she can be. All the cards are on the table at this point in time when we have these full moons. So the things that you've been working on over the last few weeks and even a number of years, I'm going to talk about that, are coming to a head. So what are you? The sun is in Pisces, but the moon in Virgo is about, again, it's like, what are you needing to sort through and organize and put together? And that helps us to feel more grounded. And I want us to recognize that because we're going to be able to do a lot with it. So let me give you a little rundown on some things that are connected to this full moon, because this is very important. This is what astrology is. It's looking at cycles and patterns. Now, this is called the lunar phase family. I talk about this extensively in my Patreon group. I'm going to give you guys a brief introduction into it. So the lunar phase family, the moon phase family, or lunar gestation period. So it starts with the new moon each month, and that begins a 3-year process. Now, in a nutshell, it goes like this. And this is related to the full moon that we have coming up on February 27. So I want you to look back to the new moon, August 30th, 2017. That was at 7 degrees of Virgo. At that time, we would have been setting goals and intentions, that, all rooted in those Virgo qualities: details, perfection, putting things in order, our daily routines, life patterns, work, coworkers, again, our health too, our health and how we take care of that regularly, like our daily health activities. So those are the things that we were looking at. Those are the things that we were setting goals towards, right? Now, during each new moon, we set those intentions, but the moon, while it's new, we can't see anything. So we're not sure exactly what's going to sprout. So, however, 9 months later, this is the gestation period. Yes, just like the humans. 9 months later from the time we set those new moon goals, we are now in the first quarter. When is that first quarter? May 29th, 2020. The first quarter is when the sun and the moon are in a waxing square. That was 9 degrees of Virgo. So that first quarter moon, it helps us to, at that point in time, we can see the goals we set. We think of planting the seeds that we planted at that point in time, 9 months later, which is May 29, 2020, we're able to see what was working and what wasn't. This is COVID aside. We still had things that were going on. Life didn't completely stop. It did in some ways, but not in every way. Excuse me a second. So look at May 29, right around that time period, and what things were growing. Again, you're going to see what was growing. You're going to say, "Oh, I like that," just like a flower plant. And then you could see some of the ideas or goals, seedlings didn't do so well. So you're just going to let them. You're just going to let them, die and good refurbish the soil. But you're going to focus on the goals and the plans that worked well for you. I want you to do that. think about what was working for you. I mean, I still haven't looked back into my journal to see what was going on, but this is a great reason why we need to do these new moon rituals, or at least set new moons. Now, let's move 9 months ahead further. And this is 18 months from that new moon in August 2019. And that brings us to February 27th, this year, 2021, the full moon at 8 Virgo. Now we can clearly see what's working and what's not working. That's why it's great to set a number of goals. And we need to continue to actively engage in the things that are working and that are important to us, all based off of those Virgo qualities I've already listed. And again, if you want to read this, it's on my website, not word for word. So I don't read the forecast. I am looking at it for my notes, just to make sure we get everything. So we're now 18 months from the new moon, and today's full moon on February 27 is important. So whatever we're doing, whatever's lost its appeal, we're just going to let it, go to the wayside. But whatever is working for you, you're going to continue to nurture that, because we have 9 more months from now when we have the third quarter. So between this full moon and 9 months from now, that third quarter, and I don't have that date in front of me, that's when we really capitalizing on all of the things that are working really well for us based off of the goals we set back in August 2019. All right. Now, then 3 more years after that, and I mean, 9 more months after that, and then we start a whole new cycle, which begins with each new moon. This happens every month. There are multiple timelines. It's like a ton of timelines going on at the same time. It's no different than other types of cycles that the moon goes through, whether it's the eclipse cycles, which it does. Those are another whole different cycle. So you can see this is another way to use the charts and to use the lunar system, because some people I hear a few people say, well, the moon moves so quickly, it's hard to manifest anything in just a matter of 2 weeks. And that's true in some regard, but in some instances, we can certainly accomplish things really quick and fast in the current, the lunar cycle that we're in. And if you didn't do new moon stuff, and that's okay if you don't, but go back to that time period, maybe dig out an old calendar, see what just you were focusing on then, because you're going to naturally do this, whether you know about it or not. So go back and just look, what was I doing in August 2019? And then is it related to May 2020? And how does it look now, February 2021? And you're able to do that. You're going to be able to get a lot of really good insight if you were to go through that process. I know that was a lot. I hope you can get some good information out of that. Hope you glean information out of that. Come to my website, join my email list. I give a free reading away once a month to the new people who subscribe. All right. And thank you, everybody. Please subscribe below and comment, like, and share. And I will see you. Come to Facebook too. I'm on there too. All right. Blessings. Very honored that I'm here. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.